the various platforms. When we analyze going from analog terrestrial, and you digitize that, all you're doing is you're giving people that have access to content, more content. You forget about the people in the outskirts, outside of the coverage of DTT. So that's where the satellite plays an important role, and also the internet. But there's a big difference between coverage and access. Many people have fiber to the home or fiber to the curb. That's where it stops. On the mobile side, if you want to access the content, you want to see that content, you're paying data rates. So, I think to manage all these things is not that simple. And that's why I said in the last session, I see all these things coexisting. The other problem with content production is that what we find in South Africa is that the majority of production and post-production houses are sitting in the main cities, particularly in Johannesburg. There's a small amount in Cape Town and one or two in Durban. The rest of the country, there's no production capability. So, if you want to tell a story of some rural area, you have to get into that area, take all the infrastructure there, shoot your movie or your series and bring it back. But with what we're seeing lately with the newer technology, and there's an element of AI involved there, virtual reality, augmented reality, is that more and more people are shooting stuff in studios with the content. So if you want to shoot something in Times Square, you don't go to Times Square. You have content that immerses you in that, in Times Square, but you're actually shooting in a studio. Everything is live, everything is movement. It is more realistic than actually being there. So, that type of technology is starting to rear its head, but it presently is expensive. But, you have to weigh up that technology to going to a location shot. When you go to a location, it's expensive to get the people there. You have to house them there. You have to feed the people. You have to get permission from the traffic authorities to block roads. So it is much easier to shoot in a studio environment if you can. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Mr. Umbui, welcome. I think last year we discussed about what Kenyan broadcast, the challenges of moving online, and we had shared a few insights. How is that going in terms of both the internal processes and getting the progress on that front?
Okay, thank you so much. I think I'll address your question in two levels. First of all is just to say that in terms of broadcast, right now Kenya is moving to HD. Initially we had only an SD transmission system, that's a digital terrestrial TV broadcast network. So we are shifting to HD. What media houses are doing right now is to shoot in HD, but you downstep it to SD again for transmission. Now, when we move to the operations of newsrooms today, there is a convergence that is actually happening in terms of different units or departments trying to embrace the digital first so as to inform the audiences. But as you know, national broadcasters are a little bit rigid in terms of having independent departments. So if you want to collapse, let's say, radio, TV, and now digital departments so that they can embrace the digital first strategy, somehow it's complex because naturally we are wired to have independent departments. So the collapse is a little bit a challenge. But anyway, with the advance of technology, various departments are also embracing a digital first approach and also easier ways of reporting. Like nowadays, there's a heavy collaboration between newsroom, that's the news gathering department, and digital in terms of through the TVU kits, flyaway TVU kits backpacks. So you'll find that once a newsroom reporter is on the ground, it's easy for us to tap what is being aired with ease. And it looks like support as much as it looks like support, but in a way we are able to inform audiences in a much easier way rather than having a real OB in various places at the same time. And in a way, this has helped us also increase our audiences, because audiences now can choose which event to follow on online platforms compared to the traditional, whereby you have to be before a TV set just to watch one stream.
That's encouraging, and that's progress over when we discussed. And you're right, one of the big challenges is the internal workforce, and that they need to converge. If I can give two very small examples, I mean, when we went to Facebook, we also was finding it difficult for us to pull what the newsroom was producing in an efficient manner to put it on Facebook. And what we're finding, either Facebook, like you say, online is becoming the first consumption platform for a lot of people, especially in Seychelles where there's a high uptake of mobile and connectivity to our houses are there. And it's that workflow that is part of the subject matter of the challenges you have in that workflow. Now that you have the digital platforms to feed, and how do you make your workforce more efficient into that? I was in Kenya last year. I was talking to the CEO of Global Producers, which is based in Kenya. And one of the drastic ways he did to sort of move his newsroom staff to a modern news management system when everybody was reluctant was said, if tonight's news is not produced in that platform, in that way, we're not going to have one. So it actually happened, and everybody scrambled to move on. We need to consider as broadcasters. And in the room, there are a few of the suppliers for these broadcast workflows that allows us to focus less on the workflow and getting the job done as far as the administrative and technical, but to allow the journalists, whether it is a newsroom or others, to focus on actual making of the content. And I don't know whether SI Media here, Paulo, you have, as far as, and I think we can come to that, can you explain to us quickly the benefits of moving to an integrated broadcast system that has the media asset management, the scheduling, and a few of those? If you can have microphone quickly to you, but I don't know if we are able to do that. And while we wait for that, I think it's imperative that we are mindful that in the digital convergence, and for example, and it's good that KBC and earlier Diod had a good presentation around that you walk slowly and that you experiment and that you don't over-invest into capabilities. We all know that when we look back at DTT, there was an over-investment in the infrastructure of delivering the transmitters and the set-top boxes that now we're finding isn't returning that investment. And it will be good to have some insight from the panelists here while we wait as to how we manage that, because cost, every little money that we have matters, and anybody in the audience who wants to share that insight. We want to go there, but there is a massive risk that we do not get the return, or we are wasting either taxpayers' money or shareholders' money into converging better. Anybody wants to take that? Sir?
Yeah, okay. So, time. In fact, I want to say just 1 minute so we can get the audience to participate. Okay. Now,
it's a good idea for the participation. Exactly. I think that's what, but yeah. I've just been told my time is up, which is a shame. But let's please plow along.
So, well, I'll just say, look, again, it sounds like a broken record. Satellite is the cheapest way to go digital in areas, on the continent, at least, of Africa. because DTT is too costly. We have been preaching this for so many years, but now countries and ministries are realizing that it's costing millions to roll out DTT, and they could have put everything on the satellite. And the NSS guy said it already. Didier, shout out to you. It can be done very easily and very costly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Mansfield, do you have an insight?
Yeah, I think, when you look at the capability of DTT, depending on what transmission system and which standard you use, I'll just take DVB-T2. The transmission standard that we used in South Africa to ensure that people retain as many outdoor antennas as they can is fixed outdoor antennas. Once you go to indoor portable, you lose throughput. So we use 33 megs for outdoor, fixed outdoor. And initially, everything was planned around, we can squeeze 20 SD channels in there. But right now, you're faced with 4 to 5 at a push, HD channels. So the whole network in South Africa is planned on 7 multiplexes. In HD, that entire network can carry 32 channels. What happens after that? Once those are full, you need to rely on some other platform. So it definitely has limitations. In South Africa presently, we have almost 17 million TV households. The DTT set-top boxes that have been distributed out there into the market are about 1.2 million households. To run those networks at that high cost is just not efficient. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ombi. You wanted to have...
Yeah, I think for me, even apart from talking about technology, I think what the African broadcasters have to think about is a change of mindset. Sometimes when new ways of doing things come up, we rush to see things happening without trying to win the minds of the operators or minds of the persons that we lead. I think for us really to achieve the media convergency that is totally meaningful is we have to educate our staff, and also we have to reskill them and retool them. Let them not see this as a threat to their jobs or a threat to their career, but let them see this as an opportunity for them to grow and even to produce more.
Thank you. Did you have?
Asante. Sisi kwa upande wa uwezeshaji, niseme tu sisi kama USF tutatengeneza miundombinu yote. Itakachobaki ni kwenu watu wa huduma kuona ni namna gani mnafikisha taarifa hizo muhimu kwa watu wote. Sisi kama wasaidizi wa kuhakikisha kwamba tunatoa support yote kuweka infrastructure, tuko tayari kufanya hivyo. It's up to you guys to see how you can now, use the infrastructure that is available to make sure that the content that you're delivering inakuwa na maana zaidi. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Nonko with the microphone. Maybe if we can have one from the audience. Maybe Paulo, you raise your hand. If you can give an insight about workflow and how we can basically leverage cost of ownership to put more money into content production rather than the infrastructure. Thank you.
Hello. Okay. Thanks for the opportunity, Mr. Dupré. So I represent SA Media. We as a software house from Italy, and providing solution to several customers, also several broadcasters here in Africa. We have realized in the past few years that the main, challenge for the broadcaster at the moment is really how to take the best out of the contents, which is the most important value that you have in your facility. And providing our workflow solution to manage the contents, let's say, from the acquisition, rather if it is digitize old archived contents or to record new contents, the ability to allow our clients to easily distribute these contents in different destinations. Linear, non-linear, we have spoken a lot today about how still the linear channels remain the main destination for you, but also other actors are coming in. And through our software solution, you can basically manage all of this in a single web interface, which from a user perspective allow you to, let's say, have an integrated, much more integrated and interconnected environment between all the different departments with an easier and more cost-effective way to handle your operations.
Thank you, Paolo. There is also, I think, Chiki Media who is here. Do you want to just give us an insight quickly? Because this is important. We all talk that we want to get there. How we get there is around sharing the different avenues for that. And obviously, cost is a big factor in that. So we have a limited budget. How do you move your cost from the staffing to the technology, or the technology to the staffing within the same budget? Mr. Tambo.
Thank you. My name is Willie Tambo. I'm from a company called Chiki Media, under the group company called B&B Media. Over the few years, we've developed a system that is integrating all the works that the media owner is doing. The software, it has some tools that will help you to integrate your programming, your scheduling, your pricing of the adverts, and at the same time, and monitoring of the adverts. It's all in one. It's just by the touch of button. So what it does is that if, for an example, a client has bought in some airtime for advertising for maybe in January, and most of the times broadcasters, they delay in giving clients logs, and advertisers sometimes get a trouble of getting payment because they don't have logs to prove that the advert went on air. So the system works in a way that by the press of the button, you can go back to maybe June to see if your advert went online. So it's a very cost-effective system, and at the moment, we are using it in Namibia, and we're talking to different countries as well that they must use the system for broadcast. It's just a media management system. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to showcase this as an example where that convergence and that is subject matter requires us to invest differently into the workflows that allows efficiency and still enable us to put money in production. I'm told we don't have time at all. I've been looked at funny, but it's a courtesy for us to give one final sentence or word to our panelists. Sir, do you have any final words? No. Unfortunately, Ms. Majisa, we don't have time to play your video. Hopefully, I've been asked, but I was told we don't have time, so that's unfortunate.
Ni sawa sawa, hakuna shida. Ninachotaka kusema tu hili tuweze kupata taarifa nzuri zaidi. Sisi kama vyombo vya umma vya utangazaji ni lazima tuwekeze sana katika masuala ya teknolojia. Tusipowekeza katika masuala ya teknolojia, tunaweza tukapata shida sana kwenda na ulimwengu wa kidigitali. Kwa kama tunataka kutembea pamoja kwenye dunia ya kidigitali, ni lazima tuwekeze na tuende kidigitali. Asante sana.
Very good summary. We have to invest in technology and we have to invest in it wisely. Mr. Mansfield.
Yeah, I think, investing sinks a huge amount of capital into your investment. And I think before you invest in anything, speak to some other broadcasters to ensure that you don't make the same mistakes that they've made. What I've found is that broadcasters share experiences. If you go to somebody selling you a product, you won't hear the truth. You need to see to somebody else that's made mistakes and don't make those mistakes. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mansfield, Mr. Ambui.
I think mine is just one point that we need to consume data, and I think this I emphasized last time. The more we consume data, the better we make our products, and even convergency becomes possible, and also it dictates what we produce, how we distribute, what to invest in, and so on. So let's consume data.
Well, thank you very much. That's the end.
Finally,
Okay.
one thing I've noticed is that our engineers and technology experts in these broadcasting houses have very archaic knowledge. So please train your staff, get them out there, let them know the new technologies, and they'll save you money. Thank you very much.
Excellent point. And on that note, we will end the panel. Thank you to our panelists. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you.
Asante sana, japokuwa ameniibia dakika 20 za muda wangu, ni nyingi, lakini naomba tumpigie makofi mkurugenzi mkuu wa shirika la utangazaji la Shelisheli Bera Dupres kwa kuendesha vizuri mjadala wetu siku hii ya leo. Kwa hiyo kwa sababu ameniibia muda dakika 20 nzima, itabidi tuende kupata chakula cha mchana kwa dakika 40 tu. Chakula cha mchana kwa dakika 40 tu, ili tuendelee na ratiba, kwa sababu tuna ratiba ndefu na tuna ratiba ya kufunga pia mkutano wetu rasmi. Kwa hiyo naomba tafadhali tukienda kupata chakula cha mchana, ukimaliza rejea ukumbini. Na wakaribisha chakula wale ambao wamealikwa na Saba, naomba tutapitia mlango huu kushoto kwangu hapa. Nje tutakutana na wahudumu ambao watatupa coupon kwa ajili ya chakula cha mchana, na wengine walioalikwa na TBC naomba tupitie mlango ule kule mwingine. Tutakutana nje na wahudumu pia watatupa coupon kwa ajili ya chakula cha mchana. Na wakaribisha sana, na naomba tujitahidi kufanya kwa haraka ili tuendelee na ratiba yetu ndefu ya siku ya leo. Karibuni sana.
Hello, welcome to Saba TV channel. Saba TV is all about African stories. From Saba TV, you will treasure the content of all member countries of the